Hey, what's good with the YouTube? It's your boy Rojo. This is the Rojo Room, man. What we're going to talk about today, talked about it a little bit on stories by a current prisoner, and I talked about it on ACP. But there's a lot of new people, man. I haven't talked about it since we only had a few thousand subscribers. You know what I'm saying? So this this is part one, really, of the reason my career ended, and we'll take it from the beginning, man. I paroled in 1996 as an NF member. Went to the streets. I didn't last long. I caught a new violation real quick. Went in there, recruited some people in the county, to function upon the release. Started establishing the regiment. I got a few people on the streets before I got locked up. Talked to a few people in the county jail that I had been knowing for quite some time, and just started to try to make things happen. You know what I mean? Talked to people from the hood and people that were from different hoods but from the same county as me while I was in the county jail. Well, I don't last long. Not too much gets established my first time out. We'll fast forward to 98. I went back to San Quentin. I was running Quentin, establishing shit. Went to the Bay, got a few names. Some of the names I got when I was in the Bay, unbeknownst to the homies, you know what I'm saying, were they were no good, man. Now, what had happened is to start all this off, there was an individual. I could get his name. I don't remember, but his little code name for his undercover, snitching activities was like Red Raider or Red Rider, one of those two. There was an individual from Santa Rosa. Now, what had happened is he got busted with some drugs, a pistol, something like that, and he wanted to work his way out of things up in Santa Rosa. Well, I talked to the individual responsible for a lot of Black Widow. He reached out to me since I've had this channel. But what he told me is he gave up like 3 or 4 unsolved hot ones in Santa Rosa, and they were things to do with with the group. So part of his continued duties were to, obviously bust other people. And you know what they're going to do with the people they bust? They're going to flip them as well. One of the individuals they flipped was the individual out of Santa Rosa that goes by Paco. He's a rapper, whatever, 18 with a bullet. This is for my gente, that dude. Well, he was one of the names I had gotten from the Bay to try to get him to function. Now, not only was I being followed 24-hour surveillance from the time I paroled, they had people already in line to try to infiltrate. And the way they did this was with Paco. I hit him up when I got out, a week or so after I got out, met up with him over by I can't remember if it was the Golden Gate or the Richmond San Rafael Bridge somewhere. He breaded me out. He gives me a phone talking about his people own a cell phone store, and they would add my account to a big corporate account like Apple or IBM or some shit where I would never have to pay the bill. It seemed kind of funny, so I never really used the phone as far as business. I would just use it to talk about personal things. You know what I mean? Females, shit like that. It didn't really draw a red flag, though, because it came highly recommended. But the whole time, come to find out, that was a government phone. Go on. So not only that, he starts hitting me up for substances. You know what I mean? And I actually went out there. He had a studio. I can't remember the exit in Santa Rosa, but it's the first exit if you're coming like from the Bay. Todd, I want to say it's Todd Road. Over off of Todd Road somewhere, he had a little studio. Come to find out, that studio was 100% financed by the government. So it had all kinds of audio and video and whoop-de-whoop. So me and Mexican Mike slide out there one day with some work, substantial amount of work that I was going to bless on him to get started. Something wasn't right about being there. I just got a bad vibe. So I gave Mike a little signal that we weren't gonna do it, and we got up out of there. Well, the whole time they're taking pictures and whoop-de-whoop, and you know, I got a bunch of stuff on me, but I think since I didn't produce it or Mike didn't produce it, or it was never confirmed that we had it, no hand to hand, no nothing like that. They just had to let us walk, essentially. They didn't want to blow their thing with, you know, a possession of something versus sales to continue an ongoing criminal conspiracy, whatever. So this dude's trying to dig into me. There's an NF member named Rojo out of Frisco, and man, he was trying to feed me all kinds of credit card numbers and shit that the government was giving him to see if I would bite, and I would use these stolen, you know, unlimited, you know, Visa, you know, Discover Black amount limits and shit to see if I go buck wild and try to do that. Man, he gave that shit to me. I thought it was funny. I flicked it out the window. Like, nah, bro. So there was those two individuals, man. And like I've said before, man, I got busted for something I didn't do. They tried to say I robbed a liquor store at gunpoint for a pack of Rojos, bro, a pack of cigarettes. And I didn't do it. I wasn't even in that city. It was Walnut Creek. It's like, I don't even go there. I already know. You know what I mean? It's a pretty well-off community. We don't got no business there, put it like that. You know, unless you're just passing through. So that somebody ID'd me supposedly. I started thinking about this the other day. That's why I'm doing this episode. Somebody, a clerk, worker at the store, supposedly ID'd me out of a photo lineup, is going in there with a gun and demanding a pack of cigarettes. You know what I mean? And so I think about this the other day. I'm like, man, that whole thing could have been a ploy to get in there and try to get me to fold on a robbery charge. Never dawned on me before, but I get a violation for it. You know what I'm saying? I go in the parole office, they put me in all kinds of weird jujitsu holds and shit. You know, just they come flying out of the corner of the room and shit. So I go to the county and the detective comes and talks to me. And he's like, you know, you were ID'd, whoop-de-whoop. And I'm like, bro, I didn't do that shit. You're tripping. Rob a store for a pack of cigarettes, man. I'm not a fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? But they file an absconding, which I wasn't doing, and a robbery, which I didn't do. So I go to Santa Rita. I see Valdivia. No, not Valdivia. It's a screening. I see screening where they offer you time. They offer me, of course, they offer me a flat year because it's a robbery. I'm like, nah, man, take that shit to the board. I mean, because still the most I could get's a flat year. So I'm down. I go to Morrissey, which they call Valdivia now. It's where you have your like BS hearing. You know what I mean? Where it doesn't matter if you're guilty or not. If they think you're guilty, you're guilty. If they think you got messed over, you got messed over. So I'm in there. Halfway through the hearing, a lady comes in. Yeah, I think it was the girl. The girl came in and whispered something to the commissioner. Leaves the room. They drop the robbery. They go, well, we got information that you didn't do the robbery, but we're still going to find you guilty of absconding. And I know why they did that, because they wanted me to still be in jail so they could come confront me. The FBI and the SSU and all them people that were following me around, Department of Justice and whatnot. So they called me out for visiting. You know, I only got to do, I got like 30 days, so I'm about to get out anyway. So they come to see me. They're like, you got to visit. I go out to visit, regular visiting time. They take me to the contact visit room, though. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. You know what I mean? I was already in there. So I go in there, I'm sitting there. Two females and a dude come in. The females were from the FBI. The dude was from SSU. And they're like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm good. What's going on? You know what I mean? And they're like, look, we know who you are. We know you're NF. We know you're running things for the East and North Bay. and we're building a case against you. And I'm like, I'm playing dumb, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, come on, man. I'm 20 years old, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. They're not falling for it. They're asking me questions about, do you know such and such? I'm like, never heard of them. This is when I knew it got serious. They're like, well, look, the reason, basically the reason you beat the robbery is because we had you under surveillance in Antioch at the time, and we know you were in such and such apartment on such and such street. I was like, I poker faced a bit in my mind. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where I was, and they could prove it. The whole time I'm tripping, and they're asking me like, do you know such and such? I'm like, nah. They're pulling out pictures of me and this individual, or me and that individual, in different places throughout the whole Bay Area. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, damn. And I'm playing it off. Like, I know they know I'm lying, but I'm like, oh, I didn't know they called him that. Because they're like, do you know Mexican Mike? I'm like, I don't think I've heard of him. Man, they got me and Mike, picture, bam, nightclub, chilling, eating, drinking. You know what I mean? Me and him in front of his mom's house on 135th in San Leandro. You know what I mean? Me and him in Pittsburgh at a park, at a barbecue. They were everywhere, bro. I mean, when I say everywhere, they were everywhere. They had pictures of me and that dude in like 6 different cities, bro. And we thought we were very discreet. Come to find out later, we yank out a GPS positioning thing on one of his vehicles. So, I mean, there might have been one on mine. We couldn't find it. But I think as far as I went, they were like right where I was the whole time. Not necessarily even needing a GPS, because they said they had me under 24-hour. They seen all kinds of people come and go that I met up with. They had pictures of me. And another dude from Frisco, I don't want to say his name because he's still all good. Him bringing me, some items in bags. They had pictures. You know what I mean? And they were saying stuff, and I wasn't cooperating. And one of them went outside the room and came back in and said, "Hey, I need to talk to you for a minute." And I'm wondering what's pop up. So not me, but the other 2 people that came to see me. So they all go out for a minute. When they go out for a minute, they leave like their case file open, and I'm just seeing fucking blacked out name, gave us blah, 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 and I'm reading the shit. And I'm not gonna turn the pages because they can see me, but I can't see them. So I'm just kind of like leaning over the desk reading this shit, and it's like, on such and such, IGI in Pelican Bay, pulled out inmate, blacked out. He informed us that Fisher, me, was doing, and there was a couple of them, man. And then they come back in, and they're like, sorry about that. I don't know if they did this on purpose. They turn the page, leave it open, and there's more. And they're just sitting there talking to me, and I'm reading this shit. You know what I mean? I'm playing it off like I'm tripping because I got my head down like, damn, they got me. I'm playing like one of those roles. But I'm reading all this shit, and it's like, man, they got so many people, talking, that I'm just like, oh, I need to do something, right? So I get out a few days later, whatnot. I play dumb the whole time, like, and they're like, it's just a matter of time. You know what I mean? We're gonna have you. We're working on this and this and this right now. And I'm just like, man, I'm not doing nothing like that, man. I might know some of these people and whoop-de-whoop. They knew exactly who I was, bro. So I get out, and all my communications breached because I'm seeing things in this statement about different mail sources I was using to create the evidence they had. You know what I mean? I had a couple of different people I used to use the secretaries essentially. And the different little things that I was able to catch and read real quick in their notes showed that both of those sources, not necessarily the person sending the stuff or even the person receiving the stuff, but they were 2 different channels that didn't cross. So both of them were breached. I don't know if it was at the source that I used to send stuff, the person that was receiving it, or somebody they were forwarding it to. So when I got out, I backed off. You know what I mean? I wrote a letter to Quentin just because I knew somebody personally in there. And I told him, hey, if you end up going back to the Bay, let them know that everything's all bad right now to talk and to send me a new way to do it. I never hear back from this individual. So I'm not saying nothing, bro. I'm out there. I'm not writing. I'm not doing nothing. I'm doing business as usual. You know what I mean? But God, I changed my stuff up so much. You know what I mean? Just everything about how I was doing it got changed up. And because I know they're watching. You know what I mean? And they were good. I'm not gonna lie to you. They were good because I'd leave mute traffic. Man, I bob and weave through traffic. I go 100 and something. I jump up on the damn the shoulder, pass hella people, dip back in. I fucking jammed through the tunnel. When I knew that anybody that should have been following me, I would have already ditched them through the tunnel. Man, I jump off on the 13 in North Oakland and Berkeley and go that way, or I keep going straight. Man, I'd get off, hit a gas station right off the freeway, watch everybody who got off. All like, man, like might as well have binoculars. I was up in their stuff. Anyway, to make a long story short, after a while, word travels down that I'm on freeze because they think I'm MIA. You know what I mean? And was I? Yes. Was it for a deviant reason? Not at all. Anyway, there's a little part one. We'll knock out some more next time, man. It's your boy Rojo. This is the Rojo Room. Enjoy your Friday, y'all. I'll be on here tonight bumping.